So after the COVID pandemic, Zoom and video conferences became the norm throughout the workspaces, and to keep people interconnected, so it's only right that cameras became the central focus piece during that time. Emeet is a company that makes artificial intelligence tech, and they designed the meeting capsule especially for that, for virtual meetings. With a 1080p HD camera accompanied by an advanced video algorithm that has face detection along with the hi-fi speakers, the meeting capsule feels more than just a camera. But before we get into that, just make sure you follow me and subscribe just so you stay tuned for more videos. Now let's get into it. Now, launching off from the top, you can't start anywhere else but to notice the large 360-degree camera. At 1080p, this camera is also automated and faces downward when not in use and face straight forward or upward depending on what mode you're using it. The camera is a fisheye lens, so keep that in mind for your meets as well. And you should remember this is designed for different call scenarios, for teachers and professors teaching in classrooms, hybrid meetings, and business conference calls. So the camera offers face detection and voice detection, so all autofocus is done automatically, and depending on which mode you plan to be using it in, it's going to be able to recognize who's speaking and hop onto that. So bearing this in mind, there's 5 modes you can choose between depending on whichever scenario you might find yourself in. The first is the collaboration mode. This will pick up 3 speakers and will have a whole panoramic view of the entire room, setting at 360 degrees. The second is the 360-degree speech mode, which is designed to automatically focus on a single speaker. As they start talking, put them in the main video frame, but anyone else can participate and have the camera focus on them. Third is the spotlight mode, and it is the clearest out of all, and it will focus on you in 65 degrees if you're the only subject, and it's probably best if you're doing a job interview or the sole person in a room like an online professor giving a lecture. The classic mode puts your entire room and office space into view because of the wide-angle camera lens, allowing everyone to be visible at 180 degrees for meetings that may not be too big. And finally, I guess technically isn't a mode, but the camera and microphone will automatically be muted in the private mode for those occasions where you may not need them or maybe at the end of a conference call, but at the same time, audio will still be transmitted from the other side. And all around the camera are 8 omnidirectional microphones, which are especially important not just for the panoramic mode, but just in general, just to be able to pick up anyone's voice regardless of which side of the camera they may be sitting on. The microphones also feature a voice IA, which eliminates typing noise, it adds echo cancellation, and improves the speaking voice during your conference meet. All features and controls can be changed using the remote control, but just on the manual side of things, some of the main features can also be used via the controls on the side of the cam. So the basics that you have on there are just being able to change between the different camera modes, muting the microphone, and as well as putting the camera in complete privacy mode. And below that, obviously, you have your ports, you have your power port, you have your USB-C port, which you use to connect to your computer, you have your 3.5mm jack, and lastly, you have your lock port. The camera most likely will be set at a distance in terms of a business meeting. It makes sense why the remote control does have a little more controls overall than the camera itself. You can also increase and decrease the volume of the speaker via the control, which isn't available to do directly on the camera. And if you do, there's an LED indicator to show you just how loud it is and when or if the microphone is muted. The LED as well also indicates to you when the camera is switching on and when it is also idle. And for your video conferences, the main body of the camera itself has a 10-watt speaker with a 90 decibel output, and of course the output is not constantly at that level. You can increase or decrease the volume seeing as you see fit. Now, a really good upside of the webcam itself that doesn't have to do with software or hardware is the fact that it is plug and play, meaning it's easily portable. At 2.3.4 pounds, it's light enough to be stored away, and you don't need to install any software to be able to use it. Just a simple power source and plugging it into your computer, and the webcam will be active. The webcam does stand on its own base, but it also does come with a 1/4 nut fitting for a tripod for higher elevation or different angling. Now, of course, the webcam and the remote itself are 2 ways you can change the controls, but should anything ever happen to the remote, you can also control it via the Emeet link virtually. The webcam itself isn't app exclusive, it's compatible with Microsoft Teams, Skype, Zoom. Now, overall, the video quality is pretty decent, although I just wish it was a little sharper, not just in the spotlight mode. Now, the speaker and the different camera angles are the most impressive parts about the hardware and the software, considering how fast the voice and face detection is. And the multi-platform compatibility means it's easier for anybody to use it without having to pre-download any software. Now, of course, this is a good webcam, but it's not just for any regular Joe. At $7.99 USD and about 1,000 Canadian, you have to be heavily invested if you want to get this for yourself or for your business. And even if you weren't a business, it is compatible with both Mac and PC, so you could use this for whatever profession you may be in. And I believe you can get it for 40% off, and you can get it, test it out for yourself, maybe your business, and then let me know what you think. So honestly, that's been it for me, fellas. I personally find it useful for important business meetings if you're trying to look professional, and at the same time, it is versatile enough to not require any software to be pre-downloaded, and at the same time can still be used for regular basic video calls like FaceTime or WhatsApp. It's also compatible with the more professional ones like Zoom and Google Hangout. If you found this video helpful, you already know what to do. I'm Jadija. I'm out.